Om Gnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kupasindubhyevacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Destarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavanga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki. Okay, any of you would like to read the first verse today, 118-17? If not, I can read also.
I can also read, Prabhu, if nobody is
Sure.
volunteering, if that is okay.
Please. Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhu. Yeah.
Tanaha param punya asamvrta tatam akyanam atyabhyuta yoga nishtam akyaha ananta tupanam parikshitam bhagavatam pitaram bhagavatam viramam bhagavatam viramam abhiramam. Synonyms: Tat, therefore, na, unto us, param, supreme, punyam, purifying, asamvrata, attam, as it is, akyanam, narration, ati, very, adbhuta, wonderful, yoga nishtam, compact in bhakti yoga, akyahi, describe, ananta, the unlimited, acharita, activities, papanam, full of, Parikshitam, spoken by Maharaj Parikshit, Bhagavata, of the pure devotee, Abhiramam, particularly very dear. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, please narrate to us the narration of the unlimited, for they are purifying and supreme. They were spoken to Maharaj Parikshit, and they are very dear to the pure devotees, being full of Bhakti Yoga. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. What was spoken to Maharaj Parikshit, what is very dear to the pure devotee is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is mainly full of the narrations of the activities of the Supreme Unlimited, and therefore it is the science of Bhakti Yoga or the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, it is para, a supreme, because although it is enriched with all knowledge and religion, it is specifically enriched with the devotional service of the Lord. So, this is like complete glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, how pure it is. And I really like the unlimited potency of the Supreme Lord is explained very nicely here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sakshi Gopal, for sharing. So this context of this verse is, we know we are in the first canto, or towards the end of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So right in the fourth chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we know first three chapters of first canto, the sages asked 6 questions to Naimisharanya, sages asked 6 questions to Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami answered those questions briefly in the second chapter and third chapter. And after that fourth chapter, Parishad sages of Naimisharanya asked further questions, 3 sets of questions in essence, to Sutta Goswami. One question was, they wanted to hear history of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Srimad Bhagavatam appeared, what are the circumstances under which Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, like that they were asking. That's the first question. Second question they were asking about is this aspect, which is, please describe about Parishad Maharaj's birth, how Parishad Maharaj renounced his kingdom, and what are the activities of Parishad Maharaj, like that they asked, second set of questions. And third set of questions they asked were about, tell us about the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami. How did he come to the Parishad Maharaj place, and how did the people receive him there? Can you describe about the circumstances of Sukadeva Goswami coming to start speaking Bhagavatam like that? Basically, Bhagavatam audience are who is hearing Parishad Maharaj, and Bhagavatam speaker, Sukadeva Goswami. So the three broad questions they asked in the 4th chapter, way back in the 4th chapter. Now we are in 18th chapter. So far, already Srimad Bhagavatam, how it came was described by describing about Vyasdeva despondency, how Narada Muni came and guided him and instructed him to write Srimad Bhagavatam. That was covered in the previous chapters. Then following that, Parishad Maharaj birth is covered, and some of the activities of Parishad Maharaj is covered also in brief, especially how he met the curse, number one, and how he meets the Kali king, Kali in the form of a king, like that, the cow, Mother Earth in the form of a cow, religion in the form of bull. All that pastime is narrated so far. Now the sages took a glorified, sages are appreciating the Krishna Katha that Suta Goswami is sharing with them in this section. And this is the last verse. They're expressing eagerness. We really want to hear Krishna Katha. Please share with Krishna Katha, like that. That's what, this is the last concluding verse in that section. Very basically, the way they're encouraging Suta Goswami to share, so they want to very eagerly hear, that please narrate to us narrations of the unlimited. That's the Krishna Katha, basically. Narrations of the Krishna's pastime, they're asking. Why? They're also glorifying that also. They are very purifying and they are supreme. So these are interesting choice of words also, we'll see. Purifying and supreme. So here is described in the verse for verse, is described, Punyam is purifying, like that is described. So basically, we hear so many verses glorifying the Shravanam process, glorifying hearing process, glorifying hearing Krishna Katha, like that. Even in the morning we were discussing, even right in the 12th canto also, it was that the conclusion of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami message to Parishad Maharaj, is saying, you just focus on hearing Krishna Katha, like that. So that is the beauty of hearing Krishna Katha. And why? Because just by hearing Krishna Katha, if you remember the set of verses in the 12th canto also, we can remove the covering of false ego. Krishna's mercy will come and Krishna can remove the covering of false ego just by hearing Krishna Katha. And we also hear in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto also, in response to the question of sages of Naimisharanya, what did they say? What did they ask? What is the ultimate and the supreme good for all living beings? Please tell us that. That was the first question they asked, right in the 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 1st canto. And the second question they asked was, don't tell us everything. Scriptures will tell this, that, this, so many things. Please tell us the essence of all the scriptures. For those two questions, the answer was given in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, which was, we should do ahetuki and apratihata bhakti. That means unmotivated bhakti. That is not, if I do this, I will get this. Not that kind of motivated bhakti. Without any selfish motivation, do bhakti to please the Lord, to serve the Lord, like that. That ahetuka, that word is used. And apratihata, that means uninterrupted devotion service. That means not that I will do chanting today, I will do chant 32 rounds today, tomorrow I'll chant 4 rounds. Day after tomorrow I'll chant 6 rounds. Not like that. Do steady devotion service every day. We also hear that Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, the prayer we were singing in the beginning. So like that, apratihata, that means uninterrupted devotion service. If you do these two characteristics, if they're there in our devotion service, then what will happen? E Atma Suprasidati. Our soul will be fully satisfied. That's what was described. That was the answer for the first two questions also. That means do bhakti without any motivation, selfish motivation, and without any interruption. Continuously do it. If we do those, then we'll get full satisfaction in bhakti, like that. We don't need to do oh, maybe I should chant that mantras for some time. Maybe I should chant this demigod mantras. Maybe I should do this puja for this demigod. Maybe I should do this puja demigod. Those are all not required for us. We just stick to bhakti. It will completely purify. And Krishna personally tells in the 12th canto also, when you do bhakti, you actually get the results of everything else is included in this bhakti. So you don't have to practice any other process also. Sukadeva Goswami also gives the same message in Bhagavatam. So that is the purifying effect of Bhagavatam. What is the purification means? That's an important question to ponder on also. Purification means currently many of us are practicing devotees. In a conditioned stage, we have the tendency, I want to enjoy. I want this for me. I want this for me, like that. The tendency is there. Number one. Number two, why is that coming? Enjoying tendency that Krishna describes in the 11th canto Uddhav Gita section also. Because we're not able to see others and other objects or sense objects. We're not able to see them in connection with Krishna. Because we don't see them as belonging to Krishna, as they're meant for Krishna's service. That's why I see they're for grabs for myself. Then I will be in the enjoying mode all the time. But what is Krishna describing throughout the Bhagavatam in different places is that we need to learn to see connection of everything to Krishna. And that is possible by mercy of Krishna. Because without mercy of Krishna, the false ego is stopping us from seeing the connection of everything with Krishna. So one of the best ways to get mercy of Krishna, like Sukadeva Goswami talks about at the end of Srimad Bhagavatam also, is by practicing devotional service. And we know from Prahlad Maharaj 7th canto, devotional service has 9 processes of devotional service. Well, first one starting with Shravanam, hearing. There is a reason that is the first one. Because unless we hear, we don't do any other things. Because we don't know about other things also. We don't know that we need to chant the holy name. We don't know that we need to remember Krishna. We don't know that we need to serve the Supreme Lord. We don't know all those things. That is why hearing is stressed everywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting. Those are primary limbs of Bhagavad Dharma process for us. So now back to the question about purifying. So this conditioned stage of enjoyment tendency will get purified to, I want to do service. I want to give to Krishna. Not thinking about, oh, if I do this, Krishna will give me this. If I do that, Krishna will give me this. Not like that. Thinking, how can I serve Krishna? How can I please Krishna? Like that. I may not be there at that platform today, but I can aspire to be at that platform. And then follow the direction that we are getting from our own Guru Maharaj, our own mentors, and Guru Sadhu Shastra, right? When we follow, then we can purify our consciousness from enjoyment consciousness to service consciousness. That is the shift we are all looking forward to. That is the purification we are looking for. Other way to describe purification is that currently I'm thinking I'm this body. That means everything related to body is mine, and this is my body. I'm this body, like that I'm thinking. So purification will change that consciousness from bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness. What is the spiritual consciousness? That I am the part and parcel of Supreme Lord Krishna. I'm just one part of him. Because I'm part of him, I'm meant to serve him. That is the best thing I can do. And if I do that, I'll be happy. Krishna will be happy and I will be happy. I don't need to endeavor separately. How can I be happy? How can I be happy? Just by serving Krishna, I'll be happy. So that is also the shift in consciousness is also called purification, like that. And this Krishna Katha is supreme, that we already discussed. That is the starting thing. Even in the 9th process of devotional service, there is a reason why Prahlad Maharaj started with that Shravanam. Then he says Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu-smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma-nivedanam, like that. All those things will come. So that's the way hearing process is very important for us, all of us. That means we need to regularly cultivate our time and schedule. Not that when I get free time, I will go to listen, like that. Not like that. We need to have in our schedule some regular hearing every day. Ideally, we hear from elevated souls like Srila Prabhupada or our Guru Maharaj, like that, ideally, because they are the highest sadhus, because they have the highest purity. So when somebody has the purity, they can give it to us. That's why ideally we cultivate time to hear from Srila Prabhupada or our Guru Maharaj like that every day without fail. That is one important thing to make in schedule if you already don't have it. If you have it, we always hanker for how can I increase that hearing time with my Guru Maharaj, with Srila Prabhupada like that. That's another aspect. Of course, it's important to hear from other devotees who are also practicing pure devotion service. They may not be pure yet, like our Guru Maharaj or Srila Prabhupada, but they're also practicing. Why it is important to associate with such devotees also is because not as a substitute to hearing from Prabhupada, not as a substitute to hear from a spiritual master, but as a supplement only. Why that is important? Because sometimes we can connect to devotees who are also practicing like us, who also just recently had so many impurities. They worked on some impurities now, but they still have a long way to go, some more impurities to go. So then when we hear their practical example, how they're practicing devotion service, then we can also learn from them. That's the other reason also we need to hear from someone closer also. Another reason is when we stay in association of devotees, one of the main thing we do is hearing and chanting. So that's also another way of bonding with each other. When we are in a community of devotees, when we hear together and chant together, our relationship will grow. Why? Because the center is Krishna between all of us. That's why our relationship will grow like that. Because if a center is money or something, then that is only temporary. Then for money, we can come together for some short time. But then after that, temporary goal will disappear. So then we'll be fighting again in short time. But if we come together with Krishna in the center, with hearing and chanting in the center, then our relationships also grow. Because then we'll think, oh, see, this devotee is making the hearing plan like this. Oh, maybe I should also try like that. Then we get some aspirations. Then we get some tips to practice devotion service like that. So that's the importance of hearing here. So then they're saying, why they're asking to hear Krishna Katha? Because it's the topmost thing, purifying and supreme. And because it's spoken to Parishit Maharaj by Sukadeva Goswami. And this Krishna Katha is very dear to the pure devotees. That is why they also want to hear Krishna Katha. Because whatever pure devotees are doing, we may not be able to imitate them, but we can follow them. Generally, Bhagavatam many places is stressed about the example Prabhupada commonly gives, that even more this morning we are discussing in 12th canto also. The pure devotees cross this material ocean by using the boat of transcendental knowledge. That's how it's described. So, and the interesting thing about this boat Prabhupada describes is they used the boat to cross this material ocean. They went back to spiritual world, but still they left the boat on this side of the ocean still for our benefit like that. So it's unlike a physical boat, which once you cross it goes to the other side. This is such a nice boat that they use the boat, but they left it for us also. What does it mean? The boat is the Krishna consciousness. The boat is the hearing Krishna Katha. So they gave us the process that really works. They proved that it works by going through that path. They gave the same to us. So we can also use the same path and we can also go back to spiritual world following them. So that's the other point they're mentioning. And other reason is Krishna Katha, like Srimad Bhagavatam, is full of Bhakti Yoga. This is the point Prabhupada is stressing in the purport also, along with other things. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest science of Bhakti. Remember in the earlier chapters, first canto, fourth chapter, we heard when Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedas for the benefit of all of our souls, and even wrote itihasas, Puranas like Mahabharata, Ramayana, like that, so that people love stories. At least through stories, they will get elevated with the consciousness like that. Still, he was not satisfied. Then he diagnosed himself in the presence of Narada Muni. When his spiritual master Narada Muni appeared, just by his presence, Narada Muni didn't have to talk, didn't have to say anything. Just by his presence, Vyasadeva got the idea. Oh, maybe I did not glorify Krishna fully in my literature. Like that, he got the idea. And later, of course, in the next chapter, fifth chapter, Vyasdeva confirms it personally also, that you do not glorify Krishna sufficiently. So write such a literature which glorifies Krishna fully like that. So that literature is our Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it's so wonderful. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of emphasis on Bhakti Yoga only. It doesn't emphasize any cheating religion, like we know from the second verse itself of first canto, first chapter. Dharma Projita Kaitava, like that. Kaitava Dharma is indicated. It's not telling, oh, you do bhakti, you'll get some money. You do bhakti, you'll get prestige. Not like that. In fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Madhurya Kadamini that Labha, Puja, Pratishta. That means profit. Labha means profit. Puja means worship. And Pratishta means prestige. These are the side effects of bhakti that we should be careful about. So while we practicing, if we get more profit, if we get more worship, people worship us, people respect us, when people adore us, and people, and we feel prestige, false prestige, then that is the anarthas only in our heart. That will not helping us to grow in bhakti, but will make us fall down in bhakti. So we should be watchful for those things. So that's why the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of bhakti. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam, so somebody may say, oh, but we're saying Krishna Katha, but so far first canto, most of the topic is about Pandavas only. Pandavas only, or Narada Muni only, Vyasdev only. Direct Krishna's presence is there very little. When Queen Kunti prayed to Krishna, or when Mother Uttara came to Krishna like that, or Krishna was, when Arjuna was dealing with Ashwadama, that time we heard about Krishna, and very, very few times. But the rest of the thing is also Krishna Katha. That Prabhupada clarifies clearly that anything about devotees of Krishna is also Krishna Katha only. It's a bad understanding, wrong understanding. Prabhupada says that Krishna Katha means only 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, talking about Krishna's childhood past tense. That is a wrong understanding. Krishna Katha means talking about Krishna's devotees also. That is including in Krishna Katha. Why? Because Krishna's pure devotees are fully surrendered to Krishna. That's why hearing about him, talking about them is also inspiring for us. That's why many of us are encouraged to read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita also. Because when we read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, we know the struggle Prabhupada went through, the way Prabhupada dealt with the different things in his life, how he encouraged all the devotees one by one like that. Then we'll feel inspired to take up devotional service like that, Prabhupada. And we also see how Prabhupada was happy. So we can also be happy with Bhakti Yoga. That will become strong in us, faith like that. So like that, Krishna Katha is the supreme thing. That's why they're saying that please tell us Krishna Katha. We're eager to listen. In the previous verses, they already told the benefit of association with the devotees also. And then we never get satiated in hearing Krishna Katha like that, they said. Now they're concluding with this verse to requesting Sutta Goswami to speak more Krishna Katha like that. Those are a few thoughts. Any other comments or questions before we go to the next verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the book you mentioned of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I couldn't follow.
Oh, that was Madhurya Kadambini. That's a small, skinny little book, but it's a very powerful book. Basically, it talks about how bhakti comes first. How does bhakti start first at all? He analyzes different scenarios. He concludes bhakti starts because bhakta, a devotee gives us like that. Krishna has given power of attorney to bhakta, Madhyamadikari bhakta. So then they give it to us like that. Then we'll get appreciation of bhakta, devotees like that when you hear that. And then he explains how bhakti grows and then what are the different obstacles in bhakti like that. It's a nice book, short, small, skinny book. It's a wonderful book here.
And Prabhuji, you mentioned three things: Labha, Puja,
And Pratishta. It means prestige, false prestige.
and Puja means
Puja means worshipping.
Other worship, means other will worship us.
Yeah,
We-
worshippers means not doing arti. but worship means like now in ISKCON, so many devotees say, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so nice to see you. Hare Krishna
Ah.
Mataji, so nice to see you. They're giving so much respect to us. Actually, I have so many impurities in my heart, but they're still worshipping me like that. All of us get so much respect, right? In ISKCON, like that worship.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, we can go to the next verse.
Krishna Prabhu, I'd like to thank you for just giving us such a wonderful explanation. So that's an eye-opening to me. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the 18th verse. Someone would like to read the 18th verse? Sure.
Sorry. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 18, verse 18. Sutta Uvacha Aho Vayam Janma Vrato Vrat Adya Aham Vyam Janma Vrato Adya Hasma Vridhya Vridhyanuvartyapi Viloma Jataha the Shulyam Adim Vidunoti Shri Graham Shigram and Mahatvamanam Abhidhana Yoga. Synonyms. Sutta Uvacha and Sutta Goswami said, Aho, how Vyam means we, Janma Vrita means promoted in birth, Adya means today, Ha means clearly, Asma means have become, Vritya, Vritta, Anuvritya by serving those who are advanced in knowledge. Api means although. Viloma Jata means born in a mixed caste. The Kshulyam means disqualification of birth. Adhim means suffering. Vidunoti means purifies. Shigram means very soon. Mahatamanam of those who are great. Abhidhana means conversation, and yoga means connection. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, translation. Srila Sutta Goswami said, O God, although we are born in a mixed caste, we are still promoted in birthright simply by serving and following the great who are advanced in knowledge. Even by conversing with great souls, one can without delay cleanse oneself of all disqualifications resulting from lower birth. Purport. Sutta Goswami did not take his birth as a Brahmana family. He was born in a family mixed caste or or an uncultured low family. But because of higher association, Srila like Sri Shukadeva Goswami and the great rishis of Naimisharyana, certainly the disqualification of inferior birth was washed off. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed this principle in pursuance of the Vedic usages, and by his transcendental association, he elevated many lowborn and those disqualified by birth or action to the status of devotional service and established them in the position of acharyas or authorities. He clearly stated that any man, whatever he may be, whether a Brahmana or Sudra by birth, or a householder or mendicant in order of society, if he is conversant with the signs of Krishna conscious, he can be accepted as an acharya or guru, as a spiritual master. Suta Goswami learned the signs of Krishna from the great rishis and authorities like Sukadeva and Vyasadeva, and he was so qualified that even the sages of Naimisharanya eagerly wanted to hear from him the signs of Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he had the double association of great souls by hearing and preaching. Transcendental signs or the signs of Krishna has to be learned from the authorities. And when one preaches the science, he becomes still more qualified. So Suta Goswami had both the advantages, and thus undoubtedly he was completely freed from uh, freed from all disqualification of low birth and mental agonies. This verse definitely proves that Srila Sukadev Goswami did not refuse to teach Suta Goswami about the transcendental science, nor did the sages of Naimisharana refuse to hear the lessons from him because of his inferior birth. This means that the thousands of years ago, there was no bar to learning or preaching the transcendental science because of inferior birth. The rigidity of the so-called caste system in Hindu society became prominent within only 100 years or so, when the number of Dvijavandhus or disqualified men in the families of higher castes increased. Lord Sri Chaitanya revived the original Vedic system, and he elevated Thakur Haridas to the position of Namacharya, or the authority in preaching the glories of holy name of the Lord. Although His Holiness Sri Haridas Thakur was pleased to appear in a family of Mohammedans. Such is the power of pure devotees of Lord. The Ganges water is accepted as pure, and one can become purified after taking bath in the waters of the Ganges. But as far as the great devotees of Lord are concerned, they can purify a degraded soul even by being seen by the lowborn. And what to speak of association? Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to purify the whole atmosphere of the polluted world by sending qualified preachers all over the world, and it remains with the Indians to take up this task scientifically and thus to do the best kinds of humanitarian work. The mental diseases of the present generation are more acute than bodily diseases. It is quite fit and proper to take up the preaching of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world without delay. Mahatmanam Abhidhana also means dictionary of great devotees, or a book full of the words of great devotees, such as a dictionary of the words of great Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Words of great devotees and those of the Lord are in the Vedas and allied literatures, specifically Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. It's a big purport.
Yeah, you can summarize them. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So, what I understood from this purport is that the main thing all over, I understood that the science of Krishna consciousness is not originally uh, originally limited within the uh, men of high birth like brahmanas, but it was actually available to everyone, whether low born or mixed born. Like here Shuta Goswami is considering himself as born from the mixed born uh, uh, family or mixed birth. But so also means this verses has proved that our Sanatan Dharma has already had this etiquette that whoever is eligible to understand and understand the science of Krishna, and he can uh, he can be considered as the qualified person or Brahman. And later, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, has re-established this culture by promoting Haridas Thakur as a Namacharya, although he had appeared in the family of Mohammedans. Also, Prabhuji, uh, mm, mm, uh, spiritual master of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ishwarapuri, was also from like originally from Sudra family, right? Or
Oh, I do not know much, probably, but I do not know.
oh, like yeah, I was listening in some lecture that he was from I don't know. I just shouldn't say it because I don't know. Uh, so in yeah, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has re-established fact. So we need to follow and appreciate. And one more thing is that means here Suta Goswami got a double association, like
Mm.
hearing from uh, elevated souls and preaching to and speaking to the elevated soul. That is great. That is two things I got.
Thank you, Madam. Hare Krishna. Yeah, there's amazing purport by Srila Prabhupada and wonderful words also. So if you notice, the previous section, we heard how the sages of Namisharanya are requesting Sutta Goswami. We are so eager, please share Krishna Katha, please share Krishna Katha, like that they're asking. So now Sutta Goswami doesn't think, oh, see, I'm great, I'm going to share with you now, like that. Srila Goswami, even in the beginning of the Bhagavatam also we see how he's in such a humble mode. He starts praying to his spiritual master, starts offering obeisance to Supreme Lord, and then starts to share like that. So even here is glorifying the Supreme Lord in the next set of verses now. So that is what is going on. So first, what is saying? Is it, so when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear the great souls in Srimad Bhagavatam like pure devotees speak, then we can catch their mood of gratitude, their humility, and their surrender, their taking shelter of Krishna. We can see it. In this verse also, see is filled with gratitude, saying, although I was born in a mixed caste, still I am promoted simply by serving and following the great who are advanced in knowledge. Simply by serving devotees, he felt that he got elevated just because of their mercy, like that. And even by conversing with great souls, just by talking to the great souls, one can without delay cleanse oneself of all disqualifications. So this is personally sharing from his realization. So generally, one of the most important thing for us is not just information or knowledge when we're hearing from great souls, pure devotees or Prabhupada like that. What is important for us to catch is their realizations, their heart, what is there in their heart will transmit to us. That's why we hear to the pure devotees so regularly. So here is saying, just by conversing with great souls, one can without delay cleanse oneself like that. So this verse essentially is glorifying the power of devotee association with this verse. But how can one glorify devotee association like this unless he has gratitude? So that is the other thing we need to watch out in our life also. We are getting so many things by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of so many devotees in our life. So we should recognize them, we should understand them, then we can be grateful. And that grateful heart is a powerful heart. Grateful heart is like the starting, grateful heart is the starting place for love to germinate, love to come, love of Krishna to come like that. And in some place in first canto, Prabhupada also talks about simple and grateful heart is the best for a devotee like that. It talks about. So that's the gratitude is coming through this verse like this. One of the ways we can cultivate gratitude is seeing all the good things we have in life. Normally we hear we should count our blessings like that. Normally we hear like that. So this is an aspect like that. This is an aspect like that we can practice gratitude. And Chaitanya Prabhu has a acronym. Chaitanya Prabhu is very good with acronyms. He says ACE, ACE. We're going to ace this exam like that, right? ACE. A is, he says, we should look around us, what is good in our life like that, so that we can become grateful for what we have good. Then C, he says, is when something difficult thing happens, we need to see what good we already have that can counter the bad that we are going through. That is the C. C is for countering the bad. Good, look for good that can counter the bad in our life like that, or difficult circumstances in our life. Then he says E, that emerging. We should see with this difficult circumstance, how can some good can emerge from it? What lesson can come? How can I take shelter of Krishna more strongly, more seriously, more sincerely like that? There's a nice acronym he gives about gratitude on this also. So that's very powerful. When you have gratitude, even we have so many difficult circumstances, we'll still stick to the devotion service nicely. Otherwise, we'll ask, why did this happen to me? Instead of thinking, how can I continue serving Krishna through these difficult circumstances like that? So that's why our devotional life, we cultivate gratitude nicely in our life. Now, a few points, wonderful points in the purport. Actually, Parmati already shared many of them. So I will not go deep in many of them. So for few, I will highlight. One principle is very important, is that who can be a guru? Because many times devotees have misunderstanding. Oh, I want somebody who's born in India only as a guru. I want somebody who is in this caste only as guru. I want somebody who's a sannyasi only as a guru. I want somebody who's in grihastha only as a guru. Like that, so many misconceptions are there. So Prabhupada is clearly clarifying us what is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching is simple. Somebody who is perfect in science of Krishna, they can give Krishna to us. They can teach us bhakti. It doesn't have to be Brahmana born. It doesn't have to be particular country born. Nothing. Particular city born. Nothing. As long as he has the knowledge of Krishna, he can give us the bhakti to us like that. That's the important principle we should remember. When we have this, then we don't discriminate. Oh, this person is from here. This person is from here. This person is less qualified, more qualified. We'll not go into the offensive tendencies. That's the important principle to learn for us. Prabhupada repeatedly talks about this in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Bhagavatam also, like that. That's very important principle for us to learn. Now, another important principle is next, going to next verse, next paragraph. Here, Sutta Goswami learned the sense of Krishna from authorities. That is the principle is we need to learn from devotees who are in disciple succession, not from somebody from who's not in Sampradaya. That we talked so many times in this session, but it's still important principle. Whom we are hearing from is very, very important like that. And then Payal Mataji talked about this point, how he got the double association of hearing from Sukadeva Goswami and preaching to elevated sages of Naimisaranya. This is a very important point for us to understand also. That means whenever a Krishna Katha is going on, actually it's not the audience is only benefiting. Actually, speaker is benefiting a lot more than the audience actually. When we understand that, then we don't understand speaking as a privilege that extra privilege or prestige or something we don't feel. Actually, audience is helping us. So that way we can discuss Krishna Katha with them like that. So in this circumstance, Prabhupada is describing as if like the audience is elevated compared to Sutta Goswami, like that is describing in this particular circumstance. That's also possible. That means the audience must be so humble that they're hearing from a speaker who is junior to them also. That also is a nice quality we can learn. If it's a Krishna Katha, as long as they're bona fide, we can hear from them. So like that. So that means it's not only person who's speaking who's benefiting, not only person who's hearing benefiting, both are being benefited. Commonly we hear from Prahlad Maharaj was Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam was who perfected their life by Shravanam we hear, right? That is Parishad Maharaj we hear. Who perfected by Kirtanam, we hear Sukadeva Goswami like that. So both perfected their lives. One by speaking, one by hearing like that. So both have their position like that. And then actually, those who practice speaking, they will understand that when they are actually speaking, they realize more. When they're preparing for the class session, they will learn more. They will grow more in bhakti also. That's another relation they give. That's why we hear speaking is not a great thing like that. Speaking is considered as a sadhana for us. That way, it doesn't mean speaking doesn't need to have so many devotees. We can speak whatever we understood to one devotee, one friend of us. So then that sharing is also speaking only. In an earlier chapter, Sri Prabhupada writes in one of the purports, in one of the earliest chapters, 4th chapter, 5th chapter, I don't remember now. In the earlier chapter, he writes, Srimad Bhagavatam is not just meant to be heard. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be discussed like that, Prabhupada writes. Not just read and listened, but also discussed like that. So why? Because when we discuss in the association of devotees, each of us understand one particular element of the what Prabhupada is trying to share. So then we'll benefit tremendously from their realization and understanding like that. Because all of us are practicing only. So when we work together like this, we can grow in bhakti together nicely like that. So that's another aspect. So that means speaking is also a sadhana actually for us. Not just listening, we should take an opportunity to share with others also in whatever forum we can get. That's important. So now, next one is transcendental science. Yeah, then let me go to my notes. I wrote down in the underlined in my notes here. Yeah, and Pal Mataji already talked about there's no bar to learning. The caste system is born very new. Some people criticize Vedic culture, criticize scriptures, saying that Hindus have this caste system which is bad. They're discriminating against everybody like that. So Prabhupada is clearly writing in this purport that that caste system, as it is prominent now, is only from few hundred years only. And why did that happen? Because remember in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. Varnashrama is based on Guna and Karma. Not based on I'm born to Brahmana, so I'm also Brahmana. Not like that. I need to have the qualities of a Brahmana. And I need to do the occupation of a Brahmana. Then only I can be Brahmana. Prabhupada commonly gives an example. I'm a son of a surgeon. That doesn't make me a surgeon. I still need to go to university. I still need to learn. And I still need to practice. Then only I can get the qualification of a surgeon like that. Similarly, the caste system is also like that, based on the guna and karma, based on the qualities and occupation. Of course, this guna can also mean the mode of nature that is mainly influencing me, like Brahmanas are primarily in mode of goodness, like that, right? That's another meaning described by Acharyas. So that's what Prabhupada is describing. Then why did it degrade also? Prabhupada is writing in the purport that some disqualified men in the families of higher caste, Dvijabandhus, when that increased, that's what caused the caste system to degrade like that. Meaning, somebody is born in Brahmana family, but they don't have Brahmana qualities. Then, but they still act as if they are Brahmanas and they take the position of Brahmanas. That's what messed up the whole system. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. And then Prabhupada is emphasizing how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proved practically that with the example of Haridas Thakur, how Haridas Thakur was a great Vaishnava, is a Namacharya, Acharya of the holy name, which is the essence of this whole Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, what our main principle is for us to chant the holy name attentively, every day, with faith. So Haridas Thakur is Acharya for the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made him like that. Did not see that he's born in a Muslim family, it doesn't matter. He's Krishna conscious. He's the topmost Vaishnava. So that's why he's given like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that is describing. Now the last verse, remember the verse itself is glorification of association of devotees, right? In the last paragraph, Prabhupada is describing some verses. These are in Srimad Bhagavatam also. And we hear Narottam Das prayers also, bhajan also, that just by seeing the devotees, one can become purified. We do, in case of Ganges, we do take bath in the Ganges, or sometimes it's described we to take repeated bath in Ganges to get purified. But great devotees, if you just see them, we can get purified, like that is described. That's the glories of devotees association. And it's not exaggeration actually. Why? Because when we see Uttamadhikari devotee and see their behavior, we can develop wonderful qualities like them. The prerequisite is we need to develop appreciation for their qualities. Then we can develop their qualities also. Like how they're so humble. See, they're so encouraging, appreciative to everything. See, they're so grateful. See, they're always thinking about Krishna in every circumstance. When we appreciate those, we develop those qualities also like that. So that's what Prabhupada is describing about association of pure devotees here. And then Prabhupada is encouraging us, all of us, to do whatever we can in our capacity to preach this message also. And he says it's the best kind of humanitarian work. Why is this best kind of humanitarian work? Because it gives a benefit for a long time, eternal benefit. Whatever we do with somebody with Krishna consciousness, not for 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, 1 lifetime even. It gives eternal, permanent benefit, whatever they do. If you give some prasadam to somebody, if you give a book, Prabhupada book to somebody, if you tell them, my dear sir, there is a ISKCON temple here nearby, they have a nice program every Sunday, you can join us, they have free vegetarian feast, like that we can tell simple way. Then that's also preaching. Then that's why, or we can tell them about holy names to someone. You can chant this holy name and become happy. Then that's the best humanitarian work Prabhupada is encouraging us, all of us, to do like that. Those are a few thoughts. Anybody would like to share anything else on this verse as comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Why means Dija Bandhus means the friends of Brahmanas, right? Why they are bad people?
Oh, bad people in the sense that not bad people essentially. What is it? Dvija means Brahmana, right? Dvijabandhu is the term Prabhupada introduced in the earlier chapters of first canto, where that means for namesake, they're born in Brahmana family, but they don't have qualities of Brahmana. That's why the term is used Dvijabandhu for them. That means they're not meant to act like Brahmana if they're not having the qualities of Brahmana. They're not doing occupation of Brahmana like that, right? That means they don't have same power like a Brahmana with qualities, right? That makes sense?
Yeah, like Brahmanoid, like Brahmana, but not Brahmana.
Exactly. Namesake Brahmana, but they don't have the capacity of Brahmana, qualities of Brahmana, like that. Brahmanas can give mercy. Brahmanas can give, educate us about the spiritual knowledge, tell us about eternal nature of ourselves, that we are a spirit soul. They can tell us, don't worry about only this life, worry about next life. And even more advanced is, don't worry about next life in this material world. Worry about going to eternal spiritual world, where you can be eternally happy with ever growing happiness, like that. That's what Brahmanas are meant to give us: aspiration, knowledge, and elevate our consciousness also. Any other comments or questions?
So I just want to remember the ace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So
Yeah,
the A means look around for good, means count the blessings. Look
yeah,
around.
count the blessings. Look and good in our life. Yeah,
And C for in difficult situation, take the good thing to counter the bad things.
yeah,
And E means um, in the difficult situation, what good qualities or good things are emerging from the situation, from the difficult situation.
very nice.
That's why we can be grateful. Oh, I'm in this difficult situation, but due to this difficult situation, some good qualities or good things is emerging in my life, and I'm
Very nice. Yeah, he did a class on that also. Yeah, that's nice. And then anybody has any realization on that? How in a difficult circumstance, some good can come out in our life with the mercy of Krishna and devotees. Any examples anyone has from their life, if you like to share?
Guruji, can I share one
Yeah,
thing?
sure, go ahead.
Like when I used to stay with my parents, then for everything, like from for everything I used to depend on my parents, like even during my exam time, my mom used to feed me and I used to study, kind of thing.
Wow.
And but now uh the situation is difficult because my parents are not with me, so everything, like shopping, cooking, cleaning, plus studying, everything and doing that. Then my mom was telling yesterday that because Krishna took you from our shelter, that's why you are being able to handle different things alone. And I'm, oh, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah,
Because yesterday I was crying like that I cannot do so many things. Then my mom told me, no, Krishna gives you a difficult time to, the E1 is the E1 good.
emerging. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah.
very nice, man. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful sharing.
I just say like, okay, go ahead, madam.
Go ahead, Radhi.
Yeah, go ahead. I think Janki Mataji and
Yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone, and Prabhuji here. No, I just said like like a short story. I think that relates to all of you.
Mhm.
Like not all of you and me and probably Faraj and Mataji is on the line. So it's like when I moved to Maryland. At that time, I was just like alone. My husband was like not here, so I was like, oh, I have to live here alone. And then oh, and then my work was very far from Alikot city, so he suggested that Alikot city is a good place, you go and live there. And I was like, oh, it's so far, I have to drive so much. But then I googled and I was like, oh, the ISKCON is so nearby. And at that time, like I was not, I have been going to ISKCON for many years, but I was never like so much involved. And then I think it was the first time was Ekadashi when I just visited like a temple and I saw you, it was Wednesday, and then you guys were all reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And I asked if I can read the book, and then you said, okay, you can join us also. Yeah, reading. And that's how I started. getting involved so much. So I definitely did not like staying so far, but it turned out to be good.
Very nice, Mother. Yeah, that's wonderful sharing. That helped you to go closer to Krishna through that experience. Yeah, Mother. Yeah, I know other devotees wanted to share. I know Vrindagopi Mataji, you also unmuted, and then Harinam Kirtan Prabhu and Asmin Patil next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, koti koti dandavat pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. Prabhuji, when more and more difficulties came in our life, we become more and more sincere in bhakti. Uh, Basically, I'm from Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, and after my brother-in-law is captured the business. So when we came Atlanta, we have to start from big zero. So in Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, there is a Chappan Boga. The association of Vaishnava is too much, and here the temple is 1.5 hour far, and we don't have a car. And but somehow wherever I am working, the devotees came there, and they give a ride from my job place to. So Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan is Shri Shri Gaurnita is so merciful. We should not. हमें हमारे अंदर रहता faith को मजबूत रखना है कि somehow they give a association of Vaishnava, somehow the in a food court, Prabhuji, they are not given off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but somehow other devotees said, we will work for you, go ahead. So
Wow.
that they
Nice.
give an opportunity to South Shri Radha Gopinath. So we have to determination, and our faith should be so strong that somehow we get the association of Vaishnava. It is very difficult in this country to get the association of Vaishnava, and always hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha here when COVID come. It is a blessing for all of us, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
My daughter is working from home. Prabhuji is working from home. Consciously or unconsciously, they are hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha. So why all these difficulties came, COVID and all these calamities came? Because we forget to take the name of Lord Krishna and Srimati Shri Shri Radharani. Now they consciously or unconsciously, from morning 4:30 japa to at night 8:30, 9 o'clock, they are hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha, Krishna Katha. If I am staying in India, Prabhuji, it is not going to possible. So basically from childhood they are a devotee, but after 12th grade, it is not our hand to take care of our kids. We take care of our kids, but they are stopped to come temple, and we cannot force them.
Correct.
And now they are coming regularly doing seva. All
Wow.
the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga. So we should be stay in association of Vaishnava. That is the moral of the story. Hari Hari Gauranga.
Wonderful, Mother. Thank you so much for sharing inspiring example, Mother. Thank you. Yeah, Asmit Mataji, you can share next. And
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for a wonderful session as always. You take time out of your busy schedule to, enlighten us, and to give us devotional bhakti knowledge. I mean, prior to, becoming very much involved with ISKCON. I mean, I didn't even, I guess, have a clue as to where to turn, in regards to all the millions and millions of questions you have about Bhagwan, who Bhagwan is. And, I mean, you hear little bit stories here and there,
yeah,
from my parents are gone. They've been gone for 10 years and my grandparents are gone too. So who do you turn to, So, I mean, attending this brand new family is just like, mind-boggling that everybody just works in a harmony, like Mataji just said. I mean, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna all the time, just like you have a smile on your face. I don't have the video on, but I have a smile on my face when I come to the temple. I'm so happy. It's not even, you can't even describe it, Prabhuji. Even if you have a bad day, it just turns nice automatically, like just magically.
wonderful, Mother. Yeah, thank you for your association, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom.
Sure. Harinam Kirtan Prabhu.
Yes, bro. Thank you so much for sharing devotee realization. Just wanted to share small. When I came to US, I was in a place called Mississippi State, and there are like practically no temple, nothing. and the devotee whom I know, he's like 1.5 hours away. And I stayed there 4 years, 9 months almost during my PhD. So the very first day when I entered uh, to my cabin, so my boss showed me the lab, a big lab, and in the lab there are 7 cubicles were there, like a big room, 7 cubicles were there. I came. That's the offer I have that time, and then my boss chose, and the whole hall was empty. And he told me that you choose any of the cubicle whichever you like. And I the top left I choose the first one. I just choose it. And that room was closed for many years actually. That big lab was closed. And when I sat down first time, I was just checking all the drawers and everything. And when I opened the first row, I found Bhagavad Gita. So
Wow.
it was like amazing.
Uh,
And remote place, there are no devotees there practically. No devotee family in that whole town, university town. So I thought maybe Krishna has a plan. He brought me here, something. So that's how I thought Krishna knows what is best for me. And that although it's separation, I was away, but somehow I know Krishna has some plan for me. So,
yeah. Thank you, bro. Wonderful sharing. Yeah. That's Krishna is so merciful.
yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, bro. Okay. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here. We'll continue again next week. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha paditana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti koti